Hello everyone, welcome to Mastermind. In this video, let us discuss about division of Himalayas in Indian part. Okay, in India's part, we'll discuss about the division of Himalayas. This will be important part of our general studies paper 1. It will also help us in answering prelims related questions. Now, if you have seen the article, then there are different passes which are given in the articles, correct? There are different passes which are mentioned in the articles. So the passes are of most importance. So the passes and their connectivity. So what place they are connecting. So from what place to what place they are connecting, those things are important. But along with this video, you just take a pen and paper and then note down a few more details which we'll be discussing in this particular video. So there'll be few more factual points which we'll be discussing in this particular video, and those also will be important from exams perspective. So let's start. Now, when we are considering about longitudinal division of Himalayas. Now, what is longitudinal divisions? That is, we are dividing the Himalayas depending upon the longitudes only, correct? So, longitudinal divisions. Now, there are factual points with respect to this that we have to remember. Now, how many states or union territories in India has Himalayas? Okay, or how many states touches the Himalayas? Now, according to that, then there are 11 states. There are 11 states. And what are these 11 states? So if we are seeing from the very left, we are discussing about states over here. First is Himachal Pradesh. Then you have Uttarakhand. After Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, there is Nepal. And after that, you have Sikkim. Here we are discussing about Indian states, correct? And small part of West Bengal also touches the Himalayas. And then you have Assam. After Assam, you have Arunachal Pradesh. And in Arunachal Pradesh, when the Himalayas will take the exact turn, the southward bend, at that point of a time, there are few other northeastern states. For example, you have Nagaland, you have Manipur, you have Mizoram, you have Tripura. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the last one is Meghalaya. A small portion of Meghalaya also touches the Himalayas. Okay, so these are 11 states which touches the Himalayas, and there are 2 union territories as well. Previously there were 12 states because Jammu and Kashmir was a state at that point of a time. Now you have 2 union territories, which is Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. So factually, how many states and union territories touches the Himalayas? Then there are 11 states and 2 union territories which touches the Himalayas. Now, before we start with the longitudinal divisions, let us look at the division on the basis of river. So before that only, I'll bring in the map also. So this is longitudinal divisions. But let us discuss on the basis of rivers, because on the basis of rivers also there are questions which are asked. So according to this, there is first one is Punjab Himalayas. Correct? So this Punjab Himalayas, they are divided into 2 parts. One is the western side and the other one is the eastern side. Correct? So the western side is called as Kashmir Himalayas and the eastern side is Himachal Himalayas. Please remember, we are discussing about the division on the basis of a river over here. Now, what rivers do these things lie between? That is, Punjab Himalayas lie between. So they are between Indus and Sutlej. Okay. Now the next one, after Punjab Himalayas, there is Central Himalayas. Now this Central Himalayas lies between which rivers? Satluj, right? Indus and Satluj. After Satluj, it is between Satluj and Kali river. It is between Satluj and Kali river. So Kali river is a tributary of Ghagra, which is again a tributary of Ganga. Next, if we are looking at, then you have Nepal Himalayas, correct? You have Nepal Himalayas. So this Nepal Himalayas lies between this Kali river previously and Teesta river. Kali river and Teesta river. Next division is Assam Himalayas. Next division is Assam Himalayas. So this is in between Teesta river. This is between Teesta river and Dihang. This is between Teesta river and Dihang. So totally from Indus till Dihang. So from Indus in the west till Dihang in the east, they can be divided into 4 parts on the basis of rivers. That is Indus and Satluj. Between them you have Punjab Himalayas. Between Satluj and Kali you have Central Himalayas. Between Kali and Teesta you have Nepal Himalayas. And between Teesta and Dihang you have Assam Himalayas. Now we'll discuss about longitudinal divisions. So longitudinal divisions, let us look from the map only. Here you have Kashmir Himalayas. Later on you have Himachal Himalayas. Then you have Central Himalayas. The Nepal part also sometimes it is Central Himalayas. And after that, from Sikkim side you have Sikkim and Darjeeling Himalayas. And then you have Assam Himalayas. Okay, so you have this Eastern Himalayas, in which you have this Arunachal Pradesh and the Purvanchal hills also. But we'll discuss them mostly in the smaller chunks or smaller parts, because that way we can remember the passes more easily, because the passes are very important. Because when you look at Himalayas, the most important questions which have been asked recently are related to passes. They might ask the question directly with respect to pass, or the passes can be related in the match the following manner. Okay, that is so and so passes connects which region, etc. Like that they can ask on the basis of match the following as well. So from the left, if we start, you have Kashmir Himalayas. Later on you have Himachal Himalayas. Then you have Kumaon Himalayas. So in Kumaon Himalayas, if you divide it into 2 parts, then in the western part you have Garhwal Himalayas, and in the eastern part you have Kumaon Himalayas. Now this Garhwal Himalayas, it is the region in which Joshimath also lies. Joshimath also lies, which was there in the news recently as well, and hence we have to remember about this particular Himalayas in more detail. Then the small chunk you have smaller this is the Sikkim Himalayas, the small chunk of this. And then you have Eastern Himalayas and Purvanchal hills. Eastern Himalayas and Purvanchal hills. What happens is, when Brahmaputra is flowing like this, it takes sudden southward bend. That region is Dihang region. So south of that region there are continuous hills, and they are called as Purvanchal hills. They are called as Purvanchal hills. I guess the basics are very clear for you. Now let us start with the Kashmir Himalayas. Now I hope you already have this related map, or you can write the details in the map only, so that if you are writing on the map, it will be easier for you when you revise, and you can remember also in a proper picture manner. So in Kashmir Himalayas, it comes under 2 union territories. That is Union Territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. This at least we know, right? So what part it lies in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh region. So this is northeastern part, the northeastern part of this particular Himalayas. Now that is the northeastern part of this particular Himalayas. This is a cold desert region. And this lies in Ladakh. So this region itself is in between Great Himalayas and Karakoram range. Now there is one important question with respect to Kashmir which is asked usually in the examination. That is, Kashmir lies between what and what? So this you can note it down. Kashmir lies between Pir Panjal and Great Himalayas. Kashmir lies between Pir Panjal and Great Himalayas. Now, there is most important part of this particular Himalayas. I think we have discussed about that when we were discussing about the saffrons as well, but we'll revise about it in this also. In this region, saffron is known as saffron. Saffron. Locally, it is saffron. Now, what is saffron? Saffron is local variety of saffron. Local variety of saffron. Now, in this region, you have something called as Kareva formations. You have something called as Kareva formation. Now, what are these Karevas? Karevas, you can say it as a smaller elevation. Okay, let us say this is the basic land and there is a smaller elevation, and on this elevation there are smaller gravels, and then there is a sand. That is, previously there was a river over this place, and because of that river drying up, only the sediments got remained. That is, only the mud and other part got consolidated in this particular region. And in this region, the saffron grows. Okay, in this region the saffron grows, and hence Kashmir is famous for this particular saffron. So saffron part of saffron is very famous in Kashmir, right? So it grows in the Kareva region or in the Kareva formation of Kashmir Himalayas. Okay, you have to remember Kareva with respect to this region. Now, there are two important glaciers in Kashmir Himalayas as well. There are two important glaciers in Kashmir Himalayas as well. That is Baltoro and Siachen Glacier. Baltoro and Siachen Glacier. Now, when it comes to different passes, you can see there is Zojila. Zojila, it connects Kashmir with Ladakh region. So it acts as a link between Kashmir and Ladakh, Zojila. Banihal Pass, it connects Banihal Valley with Kashmir. Pir Panjal Pass, it connects Kashmir with Kiteshwar and Paddar regions. Similarly, there is tunnel also, that is Jawahar Tunnel, and the most important tunnel when it comes to prelims point of view, this you have to remember most importantly, which is Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee Tunnel. Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee Tunnel. Now, this Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee Tunnel is also known as Chenani Nashri Tunnel. Is also known as Chenani Nashri Tunnel. Chenani Nashri Tunnel. So it is a road tunnel in Jammu and Kashmir, and it is 9-kilometer long tunnel. So it is the longest tunnel. Okay, so it is the longest tunnel. When it comes to the difference between this and Atal Tunnel also, you'll understand later on. Okay, so Atal Tunnel is highest at this point of a time, but the longest tunnel, if they are asking, then that is Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee Tunnel. So it is 9-kilometer long tunnel, and this tunnel connects Udhampur. It connects Udhampur with Ramban. Udhampur with Ramban in Jammu. Then there is another pass which is in the western Himalayas, that is Sinthan Top, which is a high mountain pass, and it connects Kashmir Valley with Keteshwar and Paddar regions, and it is also an important trade route. So it is similar to that of this Pir Panjal Pass, but it is a higher mountain pass in that particular region. And then there is a Jawahar Tunnel. So this Jawahar Tunnel is also known as a Banihal Tunnel. So the tunnels we have written separately in this particular place, so that the Kashmir Himalayas is covered completely now. So I hope you have understood about the Kashmir Himalayas. Now, what are the rivers when it comes to Kashmir Himalayas is also important for us. Now, there are these important rivers, that is Indus and its tributaries. Indus and its tributaries. Which tributaries? That is Chenab and Jhelum. Chenab and Jhelum. So Indus and its tributaries. When it comes to important lakes, then there is Pangong Tso Lake, and Tso Moriri. So these lakes are also here. So when it comes to religious sites, then you have Vaishno Devi, Amarnath, so etc. So these are the religious sites which is present in the Kashmir Himalayas. So I hope Kashmir Himalayas is very clear. Let us move on to the Himachal Himalayas. Now let us look at the Himachal Himalayas. So on the very top there are Great Himalayas. In the middle you have Middle Himalayas, also known as Lesser Himalayas. In the bottommost region you have Shivaliks. So these Lesser Himalayas are known by different names locally. So these Lesser Himalayas are known by different names locally. So in Himachal Pradesh they are known as Dholadhar, and in Uttarakhand they are known as Nagtiba. Okay, please note down that in Himachal Pradesh they are known as Dholadhar, and in Uttarakhand locally they are known as Nagtiba. Now between this Lesser Himalayas and Shivaliks, there are lot of dunes which are formed. So the largest of it is Dehradun. Now what are these dunes? They are longitudinal valleys. Okay, they are longitudinal valleys. So the largest dune is Dehradun. So the rivers which flows and carries alluvium is deposited in this region. For example, you have Valley of Flowers. So this Valley of Flowers is in Uttarakhand. So this is also one of the UNESCO heritage sites as well. So this is Valley of Flowers. So this is a longitudinal valley. So dunes itself are longitudinal valleys, and they are most important parts of this Himachal Himalayas. Between Lesser Himalayas and Shivalik regions there are dunes. Okay, between these Lesser Himalayas and the lower part of the Himalayas, which is Shivaliks, between them there are dunes which are longitudinal valleys. When it comes to rivers with respect to Himachal Himalayas, then you have to remember that is Indus and Ganga. The tributaries of Indus, that is Ravi, Byas and Satluj. When it comes to Ganga, it is Yamuna and Ghagra. Okay, so dune formation we have discussed, and we have discussed there is Great Himalayas, Lesser Himalayas and Shivaliks, and between them there are dunes. So I hope till here it is very clear. Now if we are looking at Prayags, we also find Prayags. After dunes there are Prayags also. Now what are these Prayags? Prayags is a place of confluence of rivers, or where two rivers joins. For example, if you look at Dev Prayag, from Dev Prayag you have Alaknanda river joining from one place, and you have Bhagirathi river joining from other place. So when Alaknanda and Bhagirathi river joins at one place, they flow as Ganga. So this is actually taken as origin point of Ganga. So this confluence of two rivers is called as Prayag. So there are actually 5 Prayags. One is Vishnu Prayag, which is confluence of Alaknanda and Dhauli Ganga. Then there is Nand Prayag, which is Alaknanda and Nandakini. Then there is Karan Prayag, which is Alaknanda and Pindar. Then there is Rudra Prayag, which is Alaknanda and Mandakini. So first one it was Nandakini, later on it is Mandakini. Then there is Dev Prayag, which is Alaknanda and Bhagirathi. So I hope you have understood about this. Now there are most important passes, which is Rohtang Pass. So previously, now Rohtang Pass, this is located in Himachal Pradesh only. It connects Kullu and Lahol valleys. This is important. Previously we discussed about this Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee tunnel. So we saw that Shyama Prasad Mukherjee tunnel was the longest tunnel. When it comes to Atal tunnel, it is also known as Rohtang tunnel. And it is a highway tunnel built under the Rohtang Pass only. Now this is the longest tunnel above 10,000 feet. Okay, it is longest tunnel, about 10,000 feet. So when we discussed about this Shama Prasad Mukherjee tunnel, the Shama Prasad Mukherjee tunnel, it was 9 kilometers. When it comes to Atal tunnel, it is also a length of 9.02 kilometers. It is the longest tunnel above 10,000 feet in the world, and it is named after former Prime Minister of India, Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Now this tunnel itself is at elevation of 3,100 meters, whereas Rohtang Pass is at elevation of 3,978 meters. So this was inaugurated by our current Prime Minister in 2020. Now we have seen that Atal Tunnel and in between Atal Tunnel and Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee Tunnel, there is confusion also. But if they are asking in examination which is the longest tunnel, then the answer is Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee Tunnel itself, because this is 9.28 kilometers long. So you can consider it to be around 10 kilometers long. You can consider it to be around 10.89 at this point of time. Previously it was around 9.28 kilometers long. Whereas in case of Atal Tunnel, it is 9.02 kilometers long. So factually, the longest one will be Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee Tunnel. Then there are other passes also. For example, there is Baralacha Pass. So that connects Lahore and Spiti valleys. Then there is Kinnor Kailash Pass. Then there is Khardungla Pass. Then there is Shipkila Pass, Jalori Pass, etc. So you have to remember what regions are these connecting. Sometimes they'll be connecting the lower regions, they'll be connecting the higher regions, etc. So those things also you have to look into place. But the other information which is important for us, those things we are discussing over here. So I hope now Himachal Himalayas and then this Garhwal Himalayas also we have discussed in this only. Garhwal Himalayas also we have discussed in this only as a whole. Now I had written it separately because of the recent incident which had happened with respect to this Joshimath. Joshimath, as we know, that it is the land which is sinking at this point of time. So it is sinking slowly. It is sinking slowly. There are various reasons also for that. So since 1962, when the Indochina disturbances started, at that point of a time, in this particular region only, there were a lot of army establishment. At that point of a time only, there was an incident of the landslide which was reported. Later on in 1970s, there were Alaknanda floods, which led to softening of that region a little more. And after that, Uttarakhand was made into a state in 2000. And after that, more and more development also started to happen in this particular region, which has made the region itself very much vulnerable. So the western part of this complete Himalayas itself was Garhwal Himalayas, and the eastern part is Kumaon Himalayas. Now when we are passing on to the other side of the Himalayas, now we are not discussing about the Nepal side, we are going to the Sikkim Himalayas. So Sikkim and Darjeeling regions Himalayas. So this is a smaller portion of Himalayas. So if you are looking at the important river, then it is river Teesta, which is important over here. So in case of Himachal Himalayas, we saw that there were formation of dunes, right? So in case of Sikkim and Darjeeling Himalayas, there is formation of dwars. There is formation of dwars, or DOARs also you can call it. So what is this dwars? These are alluvial floodplains. So these are alluvial floodplains. So if you look at the Himalayas, they are wider in the west, but they become narrower as you go towards the east. One example which you can say which proves this also is that if you stand in one position in case of Jammu and Kashmir, you will not be able to see the end of this particular Himalayas or any highest viewpoint. It won't be that easily visible because of the breadth of the Himalayas. But if you are standing somewhere near Sikkim, you can easily see the visibility of the Kanchenjunga, etc. So the Himalayas itself will become narrower as you proceed towards the eastern parts. So here, when the lower part of Himalayas, there is flat lands, right, which are having this alluvial floodplains in the eastern India. So they are in the outer foothills of the Himalayas. So this region has proper rainfall and proper temperature, and hence they were changed into tea gardens also since British time, and at this point of a time also you have tea plantation going on in this particular region. In this particular region you have tea plantation also going on. Now when you come back to this Arunachal or Eastern Himalayas and Purvanchal hills, so initially as we have seen, when this Brahmaputra takes as a southward bend, you have the start of this Purvanchal hills. So if you divide this also into different parts, then on the top you have Patkai hills, there later on you have Naga hills, then you have Manipur hills, then you have Mizo hills, etc. of this Himalayas. In case of Arunachal Pradesh, you have to remember most important rivers here. That is, you have Brahmaputra, then the tributaries, for example you have Subansari, Dibang, Lohit, Kameng, etc. If you look at the important peaks, then you have Namcha Barwa and Kangtu peaks. But most important characteristic of this particular region is Jhumming or Jhumming cultivation. It is also known by different names. For example, it is also known as burning agriculture, or shifting cultivation, or you have slash cultivation. Now what is this Jhumming? For example, this is the land in this particular area. In this particular area, this is the land. So they are divided into two parts. So in this particular region, let us say there is some crop which is grown. Now in Jhumming, what happens is, after harvesting this crop, the whole this region is set on fire. The whole region is set on fire. The whole region is set on fire, and after it is completely burnt, whatever ash is remaining, that fertilates the soil, that makes the soil even more fertile. So when that procedure is happening, they will grow in the other part. So that is known as shifting cultivation or the Jhumming. Okay, so Jhumming is something which you have to remember. So about the Purvanchal, we have seen when it takes the southward bend, you have the formation of these hills, which is Patkai hills, Naga hills, Manipur hills and Mizo hills. So I hope you have understood about the longitudinal divisions. Most importantly, you have to look at the passes which have been mentioned. Passes which have been mentioned in case of Sikkim Himalayas also, and in case of Eastern Himalayas also, because recently they are asking more of these passes in the examinations. So at the end of this e-paper, there are a few multiple choice questions for you to answer. You can attempt those. Thank you. I'll see you soon in the next one.